Hello, my name is Tanner Buffington, and this is my idea networking presentation. To start out, what industry and why? I chose the waste and recycling industry. This is something that I have worked in for nearly 3 years now, and I've really grown to appreciate it, and I really love what I do. The reason I like this is making a world a cleaner place. The amount of opportunities that there are within this. And when I was talking and researching with the people that I interviewed, one of the big things that they're striving for is 0% waste to landfills, which is something that is really interesting to me, because if we were able to do that, I think that would be phenomenal. Where? I think I would like to stay focused in the Atlanta area because of all the big event centers and all of the big populations that are around the area that provide the product for you. And also, another thing that I love is the many ways you can turn trash into something useful. SWOT on the industry. So the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Starting out with the strengths. One of the big things that this type of company does is reduces environmental pollution. When you take some trash and turn it into something useful again, it's not going into waste. So it's something that helps reduce and keeps waste out of landfills. Another strength would be that people pay a lot for these services. People are very approve of this very much. And then let's go to the weaknesses. To be able to recycle these types of waste, it has a very high cost. For example, and I'll go over this again, the compost, which is a soil that's made out of trash. Compost takes 90 days. It takes a lot of manpower, a lot of machinery, a lot of money to do all of that. And that fits in right with a startup cost. You have to have a lot of money to be able to start it up. And something that stuck out to me, the price of fuel right now. Fuel costs for transporting the waste and fueling all the machinery and equipment on the landfills and stuff. That's a part of the weaknesses. We'll go to opportunities. Many new recycling opportunities. As you can see under glass pulverizing, compost, wastewater injection. Glass pulverizing is when you pulverize glass into gravel and stone. Compost is, like I said, when you take trash and food waste and paper and make it into something that you can use as soil. Wastewater injection, you can take wastewater from big companies and inject it into the ground, and this acts as fertilizer. Another good opportunity is that trash will never go away. It'll always be around. And then threats. They're big competitors in this area. For example, I interviewed the Vice President of Operations of Waste Eliminator. That is a huge competitor at this time in this area. Environmental Protection, and that's EPD. They have very strict laws on people who are trying to start landfills and stuff like that. There's strict laws in this business. You have to get permits to be able to do stuff that you want to do. And also, you're running out of room to put trash. We can't make everything into a landfill. We eventually have to find a different place to put it. What I will need, we'll move on to that. One of my biggest things is finishing school before anything else, before trying to start anything. That's one of my main priorities. Experience. I would love to get a lot more experience before I try and start my own business as well. You can never have too much experience. And then the money startup. I did the breakdown here, a total of $345,000 to be able to start up a company. And that's just off of researching the average cost of all of these here, the 18-wheeler roll-off, the land, and building a shop and recycle center. The personal SWOT analysis. So this is me analyzing myself. I think I have a lot of strengths, very adaptable to new things, hands-on work, a visionary, strong work ethic, and communication skills. My weaknesses, how I put myself out there. I think I could use a lot more like social media and stuff like that to be able to put myself out there. And I'll mention that again later on in deeper things. I have somewhat of a lack of patience, and I get a little impatient sometimes, and that is one of my weaknesses. And I'm very indecisive. Opportunities, many contacts through my boss that I have right now. He is the one who actually set up all the interviews for me with Josh Haynes and Brett Adams after him. An opportunity that I have at the moment, dispatcher position open in the company. It's not exactly something that I would just die to do, but I would love to have the experience of dispatching in a company like this. An opportunity to learn new things, that goes right along with it. And threats, doing school full time is definitely a threat. I don't have all the time in the world to put towards something full time. The stress load I put on myself is another thing that really sticks out. And then keeping healthy, that's really important to me, especially doing manual labor every day. That's something that is very important. Personal changes, things that I think I should change before going in. And I took some of the personal quality checklist, Ice House, 6 Hats, and the business model U. From personal quality checklist, my mom and dad did those, and they both picked all 3 of these. The indecisiveness, carefree and silly. And carefree and silly aren't always bad, but I think that I need to start, caring a little more and start acting a little more serious as I mature. The Ice House, something that stuck out to me, the ability to choose how to respond to situations. That's kind of a life lesson I took out of that book. I think that's an awesome quote that they stated in that book, and something that really stuck with me. 6 Hats, I need to work on the white and blue hat, process control, and caring more about data information. And the business model you can see here. I highlighted inside right there what I thought needed work, how they know you and how you deliver. All I do now is word of mouth, communicating with customers and sending resumes. But as I said earlier, I think I should start using social media to put myself out there. You can never do too much. These are the 3 interviewees that I talked to. First one is Casey Cronin. I met him 3 years ago when I started working for his company. He's the owner of Gainesville Waste and Recycling. He said that his highest level of education was high school, never went to college or anything like that. He was in the salvage disposal company before the waste company, which kind of goes hand in hand with each other. On a week's basis, he usually does meetings on how to improve the company, a lot of decision making, but also a fair share of hands-on work. He said he likes to go back there and show them how it's done with his own hands. That way they're not thinking that they're just there by themselves. They've got somebody backing them up. One thing that stuck out to me, how he picked this business up. The first video, one of the first videos we watched of Steve Jobs, he said of how, not Steve Jobs, Mike, he said that one of the things that stuck out to him with the sewage company is how he picked it. He saw where people were going and he went the opposite direction. And Casey kind of said the same thing there. Josh Haynes, I got in contact with him through Casey. He's the vice president of operations at Waste Eliminator, as I mentioned earlier. He did graduate high school and do 2 years of college, but he went through architectural design. He did not use that degree. He worked as an Ingalls store manager for 20 years and then started out as a truck dispatcher and worked his way up to a vice president. He said evaluations of the company is doing and how to do it better is the main thing that he does. One thing that stuck out to me is how he worked his way up from both positions and as an Ingalls store manager and to a VP now. That just really stuck out to me, as you can do anything you want to as long as you stick in with it. And then Brett Adams. He's the owner of Adams Farm and Fertilizer. And why I thought this kind of tied into the business is he uses a lot of the materials that Casey produces and stuff like that. He worked in the landfill. He actually worked for Casey before starting his own business. He manages trucks and drivers daily. And he also, like I said, uses compost and water implementation into the ground, which kind of ties this into the business. Then the next steps. After all research, this industry is definitely the one that I think I'm passionate about. Finishing school, of course, as I mentioned earlier, is definitely my #1 priority. and continuing to make good connections and gaining experience from working in the industry like I have been for 3 years now. And then begin toying with the idea of drawing up business plans and stuff of that nature in case I do want to go get one of those loans one day. And the main thing that really is for me is to make sure that I enjoy what I do and I'm happy with my career. And I believe that is it.